Forest of Shadows. Deep in the heart of the Pacific Northwest lies a forest that locals call the Forest of Shadows. Few dare to venture into its depths, for it is said that the forest holds secrets too dark to be known, and those who enter often do not return. The trees, ancient and towering, seem to whisper in the wind, and the shadows move as if alive, always just at the edge of sight. Ethan, a young photographer with a penchant for the mysterious and unexplained, heard the tales of the Forest of Shadows and felt an irresistible pull. He had always been drawn to places with dark histories, believing that his camera could capture the truth behind the legends. Armed with his camera and a sense of adventure, he set off to explore the forest and document its eerie beauty. The townspeople of Black Hollow, the village nearest to the forest, tried to dissuade him. They told him of the disappearances, of the strange sounds that echoed through the trees at night, and of the feeling of being watched. But Ethan was undeterred. He believed that the stories were just that, stories, designed to keep people away from the unexplored wilderness. Ethan entered the forest in the early morning, the sun barely peeking over the horizon. The air was thick with mist, and the towering trees cast long, dark shadows that seemed to stretch endlessly. As he ventured deeper, he felt an odd sense of unease, but he attributed it to the isolation and the eerie quiet of the forest. The deeper he went, the more unsettling the atmosphere became. The light grew dimmer, and the shadows seemed to move of their own accord. Ethan's camera captured strange, fleeting images, blurred shapes, flickering lights, and shadowy figures that seemed to watch from the darkness. After hours of wandering, he came upon a clearing. In the center stood a massive, ancient oak tree, its gnarled branches twisting towards the sky. The ground around it was barren, and the air was cold and still. Ethan felt a chill run down his spine as he approached the tree. There was something profoundly wrong about it, as if it were a gateway to another world. As he raised his camera to take a picture, the shadows around him began to move, coalescing into dark, humanoid shapes. Ethan's heart raced, and he snapped a series of frantic photos. The figures drew closer, their forms indistinct and flickering like flames. He could hear whispers, faint and indistinct, growing louder with each passing second. Panic set in, and Ethan turned to run. But the forest seemed to close in around him. The shadows reached out with tendrils of darkness, grasping at his clothes and pulling him back. He stumbled and fell, his camera slipping from his grasp and landing in the dirt. Desperation drove him to his feet, and he fled through the forest, the shadows in pursuit. The whispers grew louder, filling his mind with a cacophony of voices. They spoke of lost souls, of ancient rituals, and of a darkness that consumed all who dared to enter the forest. Ethan's breath came in ragged gasps as he ran, the forest seeming to twist and change around him. The path he had taken was gone, replaced by an endless maze of trees and shadows. He could feel the darkness closing in, suffocating him with its presence. Just as he thought he could run no further, he stumbled into another clearing. This one was smaller, with a small, weathered stone altar at its center. The whispers reached a fever pitch, and the shadows converged on him, their forms solidifying into grotesque, nightmarish figures. Ethan fell to his knees, the weight of the darkness pressing down on him. The shadows circled the altar, their eyes glowing with a malevolent light. He realized with dawning horror that he was not the first to find this place, and he would not be the last. The forest of shadows had claimed countless souls, and now it had claimed him. In a final act of defiance, Ethan reached for his camera, hoping to capture one last image. But as his fingers closed around it, the shadows surged forward, and the world went black. Days later, a search party from Black Hollow ventured into the forest to find Ethan. They discovered his camera lying in the dirt near the ancient oak tree, its memory card intact. The photos it contained told a chilling story, blurry images of shadowy figures, fleeting glimpses of twisted faces, and the final, terrifying shot of the clearing with the stone altar and the shadows closing in. Ethan was never found, and his disappearance became another dark chapter in the legend of the Forest of Shadows. The townspeople of Black Hollow spoke of him in hushed tones, warning others to stay away from the cursed forest. And those who dared to look at his photos felt the same sense of unease, as if the shadows themselves were watching, waiting for their next victim.